Hi everyone, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome again to an amazing series that I'm going to be doing with this guest in the Tell Your Story space. My name is Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, the founder and CEO of Sister Hold My Hand, which platform this is hosted on. But I'm also the founder and CEO of Book2Business, Book2Screen, which is the publishing company. I'll put more in the details. But today I don't want to talk too much. This is where we tell stories of women and men all over the world who are doing their thing. No matter how grimy, we don't edit, we keep it real. And so this morning I have in the seat, and I'm really excited about having this person because of the journey, because of the relationship we're fostering. And she's going to tell you more. Welcome, Monica Hall, to Tell Your Story. Good afternoon. Is it afternoon in London?
Yes, it is afternoon here.
Good
Hello.
afternoon. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hiya. Thanks for having me.
I'm just so glad to have you here. And I just don't like where the shy voice is coming from. We don't edit here. We just keep it all real. And so Monica, I really wanted, I know you're not shy. Monica has, and I don't say, I've never said this to her face, but I say it behind her back. She is a very confident Black woman. She sometimes get very girly, it's crazy, but she's
Yeah.
a strong Black woman who's done some amazing things. And we have half an hour here, Monica, to kind of,
Yeah.
I know your story is a lot, but first of all, let's talk about the book. Oh my God, this is what pulled me here. You are putting out a book. Tell me about that and welcome.
Hello. Hiya. Okay, so my book is called Made Homeless, Not Hopeless. It's a book that I would say is of three parts. The first part is exploring how I was made homeless. It's quite emotive. It's describing that process, that emotional trauma of being made homeless. And then you've got the second part. The second part for me explains the journey, and it throws up a lot of questions. It questions how, it questions why, it questions why we accept the way that things actually are. And then the third and final part is my not hopeless bit. And within that bit, I get a little bit technical. I explore different theories. I throw in two concepts that I've come up with myself. And for me, when I was going through the process of, and I still am, if I'm honest, going through this process, I came up with two terms. The first one was housing need burnout. And for me, I use that as a term to describe what it was like when I was trying to find somewhere to live. It physically burnt me out. And then the second term is homelessness care fatigue. And for me, it was what I felt I experienced from the professionals that dealt with me. And it's this, how can I explain it? It's like an immense tiredness that the professionals can find themselves in, this space they can find themselves in, where they dehumanize the very people that they're meant to be helping. But it's due to this immense fatigue at seeing so much pain and suffering is the best way to describe it. So yeah, my book, as I said, is almost like a book that seeks to explore, connect people to what being homeless is about, but then also to ask questions and then get involved and see how we can change laws, see how we can make a difference. So yeah, that is the book in a nutshell.
Thank you, Monica. I love the sound of that. I'm gonna jump into something that you just mentioned. And I'm gonna try to go back into who you have been in the world and who you will become in a different space, like the phoenix from the ash. You talked about homelessness fatigue, burnout fatigue. I think you should write that down. That's a new book. Having lived in, and I want you to hear me. You know what I'm like when I hear a topic and a title, I know it. Having lived in England, and I've seen the burnout, I've seen the fatigue, I've seen all of that. So I love the book. Now, take us back. And I want to do this succinctly purely because we only have half an hour on this Zoom, honey. And you know, we ain't going to edit and we don't want to get cut off. Tell me, because listening to you talk, you're an intelligent woman. I know that. But tell us who you have been in another life before you became homeless.
Okay, so before I was homeless, I worked in schools. I was a teacher, a Senko, and at times acted up as the deputy head as well, and so as part of senior leadership, which, yeah, I suppose shows that I've got sense, I can handle my money. And I guess, yeah, I'm a mom. I am a mom, was a mom, still remain a mom of 4 children. And so, yeah, that was me really. There's aspects of Monica before homelessness and Monica after homelessness that are distinctly different. But at my core, I'm a person that wants to see and make a difference in the world. So yeah, does that sort of answer the question? I'm not sure.
That is perfect. There's no right answer. So Monica, let me ask you a question very bluntly. And I know that the watchers and listeners and viewers will ask this. How do you move from being in senior leadership to becoming homeless in anywhere in the world?
Okay, the question that I know it is because I've got too much melanin in my skin, is the way that I would answer it to anybody else. However,
why would you? I'm going to cut you there, though. Why would you say that?
Why would I say that? I would say
Yes.
that because my experiences, my experience of this whole process, was that I was overpaid. So I was overpaid by the council. And I was overpaid in the mix of lots of other people being overpaid. It was also the second time I was overpaid. First time I paid it back in payment plan. Second time when I was overpaid, for some reason now the council decided to take me to court and make me bankrupt and take my house, while other people, and I'm sorry, for me, as I said, the reason I will say I've got too much melanin in my skin is because for me, the other people that haven't had their house taken away from them, haven't had any court action, have been allowed to pay back in payment plans, have still got, some of them still have got the money still sitting in their bank account, have less melanin in their skin than I do. So for me, that's why I assert the fact that I do believe that is because I've got too much melanin in my skin. As to why I found myself where a situation that was an administration error, which, you know, for me would result in communication, would result in some sort of way forward, resulted in, yeah, my home being taken away from me, to the point where even the Citizen Advice Bureau said that in all of their time, they have never known anybody to use such punitive action when it is in fact their own error. So yeah, I would say it's the amount of melanin I have in my skin.
Wow, that's even hard to just listen to as a melanated woman, but as a human being, that you have lost your house while others kept it in the same situation. And so obviously there has got to be something that's attributed to why you are treated so differently. Monica, I know your story because I've read and I'm working with you on your book. And I know that you are, I'm getting to this part because I want to help people understand that you are not just a bum on the street. You're young, you're under 50, you're a young girl, and you are £5,000. I lived in London, I know housing situations. And you were about roughly, let's say approximately £10,000 then away from paying off your house.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? How did your family take it? Because I know you got children and you got a husband, and I know that you lost your father in that same time. I know that's a little bit hard for you to talk about. How did you grapple with the fact that A, I'd lost my dad, B, I'm a mom, you know, look at the children's faces, you have a husband, your head is like, in my head, I would feel like I failed at points.
Yeah.
How did you grapple with, God, I've worked so hard, save all my money, then lose my house for like £10,000.
Yeah.
How did the family? I want you to talk to how the family handled that. How did you handle that? And what happened to your dad in the process? I want to hear that part because it's not as just, oh my God, they took over my house or I lost my house. It's a lot of things that were happening for you there, including losing your house when you almost paid it off.
Yeah. I'll be honest
Oh,
with
by
you.
the way, hold on, write this down. Losing my house while I almost paid it off. Just write that down for a second. We talk about another time.
Yeah, that's done.
Good.
I guess there was a lot, and to say that, to pretend that I didn't feel like a failure would be a lie from the pit of hell. I fully felt like a failure, and still grapple with the fact that I feel like I failed. However, I tell myself that I did all that I could.
Mm.
I have to tell myself that I really did take this as far as I physically, my body physically could take me. I mentally could go, I emotionally could go. You know, my health at times was at risk. My mental health at times was at risk. So
Mm.
I am content knowing that I did all that I could. And I suppose it then goes back to what I alluded to with the too much melanin in my skin. Whereas when I realize that it doesn't matter what I do, if someone or a thing or a person or a system has decided that you are less than, it doesn't matter what I as a person then do. If someone's already predetermined that I am less
Mm.
than, I am not worthy of, I am so I suppose in that respect, yeah, as my children, when they knew that the house was going, they went through different phases. So there was obviously the fear of what's going to happen, but I suppose what gave me so much comfort was that overriding all of that, my children told me that they knew I'd got them, which I'll be honest, again gave me more guilt, more failure, because I thought, well, I ain't got you because I've not that I failed, but like I haven't got them because I didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know where I was going. I was, I was literally, I didn't have a clue, but I knew that my children had their faith in me, so I knew I had to get on. I suppose another thing as well, like my two children, I mentioned it at places in the book, that my children said to me on so many occasions that we're more than this house. Mummy, we're more than this house. As long as we're together, family, as long as we're together, we're home. So those sort of things really helped me to still continue to stand, because my children, my husband, they all believed in me in such a way that it held me up even when I couldn't really hold myself up. I guess the whole thing of how close I was to nearly the end, because it was nearer to £5,000 than it was to 10. And it bun me. It hurt a lot, because to get that house, I go into the book and I describe how I started with £5 a month I saved for that
I
house.
know, I
But
read that, and how your dad was involved,
yeah,
and
man.
the painting. I think, just
Yeah.
to interject, sorry, don't lose your thought. I
Mhm.
think what I love about the story, which is, it was so vivid for me, and I love how you write. I think I'm not a great writer like you, but I just know that when I read it, I was like, oh my God, she is as descriptive as me. She's just so detailed. I could see your father. I could see you guys in the council house. I could see you guys painting. I could see the move. I could see you guys planting. I could see you being pregnant. I could see all
Yeah.
the struggles because you took us on that journey, and it was nice to see. But I wanted to ask you about the mental health part, because I know that when I was in my darkest times in my life, I've
Mm.
committed, I've contemplated, you know,
Mm.
unaliving, and I
Mm.
just wanted to understand mentally, how far did it go for you?
Um, Again, within the book, I speak about a time when I was also seriously considering unaliving myself. But then the way that my brain works, I then was thinking, oh, I couldn't do that to myself and leave my children here. But then
Mm,
it was like, okay, well, maybe I'll take my children. And then it was
mm,
like, but if I was to do that and I take my children, then how might my mom feel? Okay, all right, I'm going to take me, my children, and my mom. We'll all go out. Like, I'll drive
mm,
across the bridge. But then when I started to think about that, it was then like, oh, but then how might my sisters feel, or my brothers feel, or my mom's sisters feel, my aunties, my uncles, how might they feel if we all. So I then realized I have to just carry on, because there's too many ramifications for me to not.
mm. So
um
basically, your why was bigger than your intent.
yes, 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 yes,
Mm,
it was. So yeah, I continue to live, and I continue to stand, and I add to it that I continue to smile, because I still can see so much joy around me, that, you know what I mean. There's I can't explain it. So for me, as much as I've been to the lowest of lows, I've
mhm,
experienced highest of highs as well. So I feel like it's stretched my heart, it's stretched my experiences, it's stretched my ability to connect with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the best bit of revenge for me is to continue to shine, to
Agreed.
to have somebody think that they'd absolutely destroyed me and buried me, for me to come back and bring fruit and come back and reclaim what I had before and even better.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's quite exciting. And I was playing around with the idea quite some time ago about how I've had a really pooey bit of life, you know, a really pooey phase of life. But then I was thinking, people pay for manure, don't they? And manure is
Mm-hmm.
basically poo, isn't it? But
Mm-hmm.
all that is, it's poo that's been left for a time to mature. And then you can
Ooh,
grow some amazing things from it. So for me, I'm like,
absolutely.
take it, give it to me, whatever. I'm gonna be patient.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna grow some things from it. So yeah, I suppose it's how you reframe what you're experiencing. So for me, I can't think of not being okay, because
Mm-hmm.
then I won't be okay, if that makes sense. So I'm not pretending that what I've been through isn't bad or isn't hurtful or isn't harmful. It is. It's unjust. It hurts. It gets me angry. But at the same time, none of that's going to help me. So the only
Mm-hmm.
thing I can do now from this is to change my narrative, in the sense where, has anybody else ever experienced this? And if anybody else has ever experienced this, how might we change things so that it's a bit more fairer? Because for me, I don't understand how lawyers can be petitioning solicitors, trustees, insolvency solicitors. To me, that's financial intent. That's like, you know, that's somebody being financially invested into a person being made bankrupt. Is that really legal? And if it is, lock that up, because so for me, I'd like a more open conversation around this, because I think that lots of people might find themselves in situations, and through mere not knowing, through mere embarrassment, lots of people are being allowed to be taken advantage of. So no,
Mm-hmm.
it's that saying, what things are done in the dark, we should bring it to the light. And that's what I feel I'm doing at this moment in time.
Wow, I love it. You're advocating and you're becoming this advocate for
Mm,
injustice and for people who like yourself, because there are a lot of people in situations like it. What I find really hard to listen to, and for those who are not in say the UK, I find it hard because I know in the UK there's always this consultative or perceived consultative approach to stuff. So for example, if you owe your mortgage, you know, they're not going to come and take it straight away. They give you a space. So the fact that they took your house in that situation
mm,
suggests something. And I know that you've gone through a lengthy process trying to get justice, and that was not served. We're not going to give away all of what's in the book because people need to read it. But as I listen to you talk about mental health, I have to put it out at this stage in the podcast that if there's anybody who's suffering with their mental health or having a difficult time or feel that they can't get over it or wanting to unalive themselves, here's a good example of somebody who's come out the other side, like the Japanese say, and I can't pronounce it properly, so don't get me started and say, oh my God, she didn't pronounce it. But there's a Japanese phrase that says kintoskori. And basically, let me spell it for you all. It's KINTSUKURO. And it really means that in Japan, they repair broken pottery with silver and gold,
mm,
and with the understanding, Monica, and this is what I thought about as I heard you speak, with the understanding that there is more beauty from having been broken. And I'm
mm,
really going to share this post today in reflection of our conversation. It's a phrase I've always liked. It's something I've always looked up to. And I've always really just always remember that a beautiful thing is never perfect. But when
mm,
it's mended together, it's even more beautiful after being broken. And you have been through a lot. And you
mm,
were not planning, you weren't expecting this because you've done the work and you've worked hard for what you have. And to have gotten this place must have been hard. But talk me through, because I remember when I met you,
mm.
this wasn't the person. I remember how hurt and hard it
Yeah.
was. I remember us talking about writing this book, and I
Mm,
remember you being so angry, so hurt, that you had to, I call it, you had to go away and dig out the pus from the wound
Yeah.
to get
Yes.
to this place. And I want you to and I use the word succinctly only because we're timing, but I want you to succinctly talk us through, since we've met, how you've evolved. Because I listen to you now and you know I'm just no bullshit with you. You know this. I'm like, no, stop it. I don't want to hear that. Nope, 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 nope. Because I love you so much and I know that you're amazing. And I know that I can see, I'm sitting there projecting from before now where you're going to end up, right? Because of who you are, because inside of you, there's grit. And that's what keeps you here. Talk us through that moment, meeting me and coming on this journey to this point. I really want to hear about that, and how your family has evolved and how you've evolved. And because it's all about the work you did. I don't want anybody to forget that. This is not about anything other than the work that Monica did. Sometimes we just have angels of conduit, but they do the work. Talk me through that.
So, yeah, again, I have spoke a bit about meeting Dr. Ava. So to succinctly put it, I'd come to Dr. Ava to get some help to publish another book. My book is looking at the Kwanzaa principles and aspects of my homeless journey. And when Dr. Ava looked at that book, she was like, yeah, but that's not the book you need to write. And I was not in the space to really hear any of that, because I was very angry. I was very angry. I was very hurt still. And what I really appreciated about Dr. Ava is some of the tasks. So there was a number of tasks that I had to do. Like, I'm not going to go into it, but it was like exploring emotions, writing big forgiveness letters. There was a whole leap. And that patience and space was so needed for me to fumble around to be able to just articulate the book that is coming out, really, because it is a tell-all in some respects, but it also is a finding out and discovery of sort of like theoretical concepts that were mulling around within me that I then had space and time to give birth to, if that makes sense. And I suppose there was like a need for me to do something, definitely, when I met Dr. Ava. However, I didn't know what. And again, just that opportunity to be like guided, maybe boundary led is the best way to put it. Again, just allowed me to then, I feel like I've like settled a little bit into my skin. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I'm still vexed, but I've transformed that vexation into you guys do not know what has been unleashed in me, and it's very focused. It is like, it's like, I can't explain it. I feel like I have experienced anything so that I have no fears. I have no FUCKs. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but not nice and chill with it. To say about my family, this side, so my immediate family has been beautiful. We are so tight. It is gorgeous. It's been like the pressure cooker has squeezed us and got the essence of what family and unity is all about. My wider family, being honest with you, it's taken some cracks. And again, that's a process that I'm going to go through. Love my siblings a great deal, love my mom a great deal. However, in that evolving stage, things drop off.
Monica, I wanna say to you, I want to go back to the space I just spoke about, which is the whole Kintori, whatever it's called, space there. That is what's happened with your family yourself. And for me, the issue here is not that we've been through the situation, is the fact that we know that our families and us will always mend. Yes. We know that things get cracked in the process. And when they get cracked, sometimes we have to just step back and go back to fix. I don't want to give away too much of the book, but I just wrote something a while ago to my designer. And I want to read it to you. I just keep my things real. You know me. I don't do the fluff. And I said to her, I want you to write. Oh, wait, by the way, I found a beautiful picture of you, honey. Don't worry yourself. I said, I want you to add her to the thumbnail and write the title, Made Homeless, Not Hopeless, author Monica Hall. How does that sound for you? author.
Yeah, that sounds pretty amazing.
I,
Yeah.
I knew if I sought permission from you, you'd be like, Dr. Eve, I'm not sure it's not out yet. No, I'm not seeking a permission. I'm doing my thing because sometimes we have to be pushed into
Mm,
our greatness and we
yeah.
have to jump. And I
Mm.
love that you're jumping and you're jumping into amazing. I cannot wait for the world to hear your story because this story is so deep. And I didn't want, even though I just gave them taste, I pulled certain questions for taster. Talk me, Monica, through what's next for you. Where do you see yourself going? When's the book coming out, by the way? When's the book coming
Um,
out?
I'm hoping that the book will be out by the end of September, but I've got I mean, it's editing and designing and stuff. So it is relatively finished, just tweaking with the editing. So hopefully by the end of September. The next thing for me is, do you know what? I want to release the first book that I wrote that we didn't that we didn't
Yes,
post.
we're gonna do that afterwards. Absolutely, definitely.
So
We are.
yeah. So yeah, there's lots. I mean, I suppose for me, I definitely would like to share some of my learnings around the techniques that I have sort of like been trialing, both with myself to avoid the housing need burnout and with other professionals around the homelessness care fatigue. So I'm really open to doing things like that. And then, I mean, like you want book to screen. So I don't see why at some point I can't see this Made Homeless, Not Hopeless book on the screen.
Wow. Wow. We're gonna work on it. We've got something happening in London next year. Let's talk about that because
Yeah.
we have Anderson West on
Yeah.
team. So anything is possible. I really like that. Monica, in terms of now, one of the things that I know that you can offer to persons, and I know that you're not doing it, I'm saying is that consultation around how to avoid the burnout and all the stresses because you've come out the other side. You do workshop in schools, you can train, you can do so much. Where can people connect with you? Because I believe that you have, I don't, and I get frustrated when the system has one thing try to tarnish our who we have worked on to become so long. And I know that you've done so many amazing things in the world. How can people connect with you? Because I know that some people listening to this are going to want to say, God, I want to talk to her.
Okay, all right. I suppose the best place at the moment is my LinkedIn, probably Monica Hall at LinkedIn. I have got a website. I'm updating it at the moment, but that's www.therapynorthstaffs.uk. And yeah, those are probably the main ways that people can get me for now at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Monica, listen to me. Tell me what's happening with the kids now. How was life? How was happy? How are you guys in terms of, because you're not homeless anymore, are you?
Well, I'm still classed as homeless, you know. I'm in temporary accommodation, but I'm still classed as homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we are all together in a temporary accommodation. Which, as I said, it's like we're muddling through,
Mm-hmm.
standing and still smiling. So
Mm-hmm.
we're muddling through the best that we can. I've got my two boys. One's in the last year of high school. The youngest one is in the last year of primary school. So we're focusing on that really. This year is
Mm-hmm.
around finishing off, completing, and starting afresh. That's really what the motto is of this academic year. So yeah,
And
that's where.
and you know what? Sometimes we just need to finish off and
Mm,
come out of the cocoon. I was in Portland very quickly this week, and for the first time I saw how nutmeg was grown. I didn't have a clue. And it's almost like the nutmeg has been in a cocoon. It's been
mm,
sheltered by this hard shell. And then I think it's a maize, they call it, this little red thing around it still shelters it even more. And sometimes as we go through these challenges, there are things that we have gone through that help to shelter us. I have no doubt in another life, this experience of being homeless is going to come to shelter you. So I
mm.
just really want to thank you for being here. I don't know if you ever have any one last thing you want to say to the audience and the listeners, because we could take another second, another minute of what you have to say, and then we're going to wind this down and invite others to come over. I'm going to share this today, so be aware. Take it away, Monica.
I'll be honest, the lasting thing I want to share with people is that I guess you've got to believe in yourself. And if you can't believe in yourself, find Dr. Ava and she will nudge you into believing into yourself. That's it. That's what I'll leave people with.
I wasn't expecting that, but thank you so much. It's Monica Hall, you guys, author of the book, Made Homeless, Not Hopeless. It's coming out soon, so please follow her on all social. It's Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, and tell your story. If you know somebody who's got a story, wants to be told, to motivate, inspire, and transform others, then do connect with us and let us know. We're excited to have you. And until the next story, I'll see you on the other side. If I can serve or support you with your book, your life, your training, or your business, please do let me know. And I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.